for Capital Jazz TV. It's the 25th anniversary of the Capital Jazz Festival. I'm sitting here with the host of the festival this year, Marcus Miller. How you doing?
I'm doing great. 25 years. That's an accomplishment, ain't it?
It is. That's quite an accomplishment.
Putting together a jazz festival and holding it together, especially outside. You don't know if it's going to rain. You don't know what's going to happen. But they made it happen, so I'm very impressed.
You know what's so funny? You mentioned the rain. Rain or shine, this festival keeps going and nobody leaves.
Yeah, and it's become, like for especially people who live on the East Coast, this is how you officially start the summer.
Yeah.
With Cap Jazz.
You know what? That's so true. Yeah. Even people on the West Coast come on over.
Yeah, because I shouted out all the East Coast states and people in the front row. West Coast, name some West Coast states. I'm like, where'd y'all come from? They came from California. They come from Denver. It's crazy. It's beautiful.
Marcus, what a lot of people do know about you, multi-instrumentalist, multi-Grammy Award winner, you
multivitamin.
Multivitamin. He's a multivitamin. He's a composer, he's a film composer, you do so many different things. You're producing many artists, I mean from Miles Davis to Luther to David Sanborn, and the list goes on and on and on. But you're also a broadcaster. Oh my gosh, I was so impressed with you. You were doing a radio show in all French.
Yes.
That airs only in France?
Yes. Yeah, France and Canada. But, I didn't tell you for a while because that's like you saying, oh, Marcus, I'm playing the bass.
You're right.
I was like, let me just keep this to myself, But what happened was I love music, right? And this guy named Mark Ruffin, who's a DJ on the jazz station on Sirius XM, and he said, you need to do your own show. And I said, man, I don't know what I'm doing. He just start doing it. And so I started, and it was kind of tentative, but I was always playing good music. So even if I sounded whack, I was playing good stuff, you know what I mean? And then after a while, I started getting comfortable, and then the French people asked me to do it, and it was a challenge, and I got into it.
Yeah, it's so nice. I was driving around with Sirius XM on I think it was on a Sunday, and I heard this voice that seemed a little familiar, but given all this cool information about each artist.
Right.
And just being real natural. And then they said it's Miller time. I'm like, that's Marcus. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Well, you know what it is? The one thing that bothers me about jazz is that you're expected to know everything as a listener. And nobody takes the time to say, hey, man, this is Cannonball Adderley. This dude was the man back in 1967, man. And he was like, you know how you getting your groove on to Gerald Albright or somebody like that? Cannonball was that guy back in 67. Just little simple things to make people say, okay, let me check it out. You know what I mean? And make it more approachable.
And that's just how you sound on your radio show, just like that. So I'm wondering if that's what led you to hosting things like this, hosting an event, because of your new broadcast. Actually, not that new anymore, but your broadcast.
Yeah, I've been doing it for maybe 4 or 5 years now. But yeah, once I started doing that, people started hearing the radio show. And there's people who don't even know that I play an instrument. They
don't know about your bass.
They just know from the show, you know what I mean? And the crazy thing was one day I was talking to somebody and another person had their back to us. And that person turned around and said, oh, I recognize you from your voice because I listened to your show. And I'd never, ever gotten recognized for my voice. Maybe the hat sometimes.
Oh, always the hat.
But never the voice. So,
wow.
So it's a good thing. So I got into hosting, and I love it, man, because I love connecting with people. And I also love musicians. And I love making the connection between audiences and musicians.
I love that. I was going to ask you, how you feel when someone is up there and they're performing and you're not. Do you just feel the urge to grab the bass and just start jamming with them, or are you good for taking a break?
Sometimes I'm just enjoying listening, and when I feel the urge, I just grab my bass and jump up on there. And they're like, oh, here he comes again. No, we have a good time because I know most of the musicians, so we always have a good time.
So you play all over the world. I remember I was performing in Tokyo years ago, and that's when Tower Records was around. As soon as I go in the record store, there's this life-size poster of Marcus Miller. People love you all over the world.
Man, it's amazing. I've been going to Japan since I was 19 years old. And the Japanese audience, they were really hardcore. They used to read the back of the albums. And if they saw the same name on a bunch of albums, like studio musicians who play on a lot of records, like myself and guys like Steve Gadd and Richard T., they would be like, you'd be a star as Grover Washington Jr. It was crazy. So we get off the bus and there'd be people standing there clapping, and we're turning around and say, who they clapping for? And it would be us. you know? And so we developed that relationship, you know, from the backs of albums to going to Japan to perform a lot. And it's a beautiful relationship now. Same in Europe. We're starting to do a lot of gigs in Africa. Matter of fact, I saw you in South Africa about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, that was so amazing. And the people in South Africa who had no idea that I knew you, I'm sitting in the audience with my mom,
Right.
and they were giving you so many compliments. They were like, yeah, he's really doing it. He's doing it. They
Yeah.
loved that.
And the thing about our music is it's primarily instrumental, so there's no language barrier. You know what I mean? They don't have to wonder what you're singing about. You know, they just listen to the music, they feel the groove, and that's universal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, music is universal. So I'm playing in Russia, I'm playing in Scandinavia, I'm playing in islands in the South Pacific that I didn't even know existed, New Caledonia. They speak French, so that was cool. West Africa, South Africa, North Africa, we played in Morocco. I was playing in Morocco at this festival. It's called the Gnawa Music Festival. Gnawa music is this ancient dance music. And 30,000 people in the audience, and these Gnawa musicians play this groove for like 3 days straight. People are just in a trance, but spiritual trance.
Wow.
Like, it's not like the trances, dances that they have here in the States, right? And man, I jumped up on that stage with my little bass guitar. They don't even have a bass guitar. They have a gembri, which is like from the 12th century.
Say the name of it?
A gembri.
Okay.
Excuse me.
I was going to do a tissue.
No, that's how you gotta sound like you sneezing. But it's like the ancestor to the bass guitar. It's like a rectangle. It's made from camel gut strings and camel skin. Anyway, man, I'm jamming with the guy with nose to nose, North African dude. Man, we can't speak the same language, but playing that groove, right? And then they gave me one of these instruments after the concert, man. So
Oh, that's beautiful.
I'm home with my camel instrument, just
Oh,
trying to get
yeah.
the sound out of it. You know, so I use it on concerts every once in a while.
Oh, very, very nice.
But yeah, we go all over the world, man, and people really appreciate it.
I love it. You know, and I always love when I see you and hear you at the Capitol Jazz Festival. What do you love the most about it? Why do you keep coming back?
I
to
love
perform
I love
and to
this.
host?
I love the spirit of this festival. Every festival has its own personality. I don't know what creates a personality, you know, the venues or the artists that come, but I really think it has to do with the people who come. And Cap Jazz has a really down home feeling. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because I'm from the East Coast. I'm from New York, so I see a lot of people that I haven't seen in years. You know, people show up from like high school, from second grade. You know, I'm trying to recognize who they are as an adult. You know what I mean? But it's a really beautiful spirit. People love music. They're open. You know, so you'll have somebody who plays like smooth jazz. You'll have somebody who plays funky jazz, or you know, Latin jazz, or singers who play really like laid back bossa nova stuff. And the audience is just, hey, we don't care what you call it. If it's good, that's what we're here to hear. So it's really nice. I think that's what I like about the festival.
Okay, so before I let you go, what do you want to tell us that maybe your fans don't know about Marcus Miller that you may or may not want us to know, but just tell us anyway.
What don't
What don't
people know about me? Do they know that I played on Mariah Carey's first hit, Vision of Love? I played bass on that. I played on Whitney Houston's first album. I played on Julian Lennon's big hit. Julian Lennon is John Lennon's son, and he had one hit, Much Too Late for Goodbyes. I played on that. I played on the Electric Company. Do you remember the Electric Company?
Dude.
Which was kind of like a Sesame Street,
Yeah.
you know,
I didn't know that.
version. Yeah, I did that. I love basketball, and I'm limping a little bit right now because I went up to take a shot and landed on somebody's foot. So if you ever see me coming on stage and I got a little limp, it's probably why. You know?
I love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to see you here and have you as a part of the Capitol Jazz.
Cap Jazz,
Yes!
25 years.
25 years and going strong.
It's incredible.
I'm Angela Stribling with Marcus Miller here for Capitol Jazz TV.
Come on.